Tim, where's the first episode of season 3?
Oh, it's timing. That all the recording software open.
We talked about it. You were supposed to hit the record button.
Well, I'm doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then go upload the episode.
Okay. I see the problem.
How dare ya!
I want to play the music now.
Yeah, I think we'll do that.
Welcome
Yes.
to the IoT department season 3.
Yes.
And being that it's season 3, we should probably do some things different than in season 2. What should we do differently? Should we do something new and improved, Ian?
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
I'm usually a very unoriginal person anyway. I mean, this podcast was your idea to begin with.
All right. We're working on a new logo.
Yes.
You know what we should do, Ian? We could get our own theme. Like we could open up a garage band thing, just mix up a bunch of random music together.
Just get some.
Yeah, make it our own theme.
Okay.
Just opening chips with that from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're more of an official podcast.
More than an official podcast, yeah. So we'll get working on that, and then some podcasts have opening music or intros for each of their kind of segments. We can do that as well.
Mm.
So I would just thought about this because each season should probably have something new and improved.
Mm-hmm.
And last season
Right.
was you started to put the music in like nicely and cleanly into in Windows Movie Maker. Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes I just went for the raw audio.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. So we might start working on that. We might just forget after this episode, but I just thought about that, so I thought I wanted you to do that. So
I like it. Shake on it.
Shake on it. All right. So welcome once again. Sorry for that weird point I had to bring up.
No, I think it's good.
All right.
I think that is maintenance, basically.
Maintenance, yeah. That is maintenance. Also maintenance. There will probably be a second episode up today as well. Bloopers, behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I meant to record
from season 2.
From season 2. I probably should have recorded more. There's only 4 of them. But
it's okay. It'll be just a little. It's like a little. Call it a special feature or something.
It's a special feature. Yeah.
You know, it's not meant to be a full episode.
Yeah. All right. So, ready for a quick R&D?
Proceed.
All right. So we might just want to bring in one thing each, just in case.
Yes.
Just for shortness. Let's talk about the Fallen Kingdom trailer for a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Ian has strong feelings.
Well, I've mentioned this before, and then many people have already shared this on the interwebs. That now we know what the movie is now.
Yeah.
And I guess a way you could put it, it could be somewhat of an exaggeration or what have you, but it's The Lost World Part 2.
Yeah, pretty much. Lost World Remastered.
Which many understandably would not like because many didn't like The Lost World.
Yeah.
Especially the San Francisco bit.
Yeah, San Francisco, or San Diego, San Francisco.
San Diego,
San
yes.
Diego.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, let's just hope it's not that.
Well, the Endoraptor does appear to be in a suburban area.
Yeah, that's true. But it appears to be kind of condensed in the same space.
Nevertheless.
It doesn't seem to be rampaging one city. It seemed to be more condensed into one area. Wherever they're doing that auction at.
Well, you know what? I was actually wondering how they were going to make a whole movie out of the island exploding.
Yeah.
And if that could be interesting, and then of course we saw everything else and what they plan to do with company getting greedy and whatnot and selling stuff and being stupid.
Which is always kind of the message nowadays with the movies. Companies are greedy. My favorite message.
I mean, we both have our feelings about Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And so are you thinking this will be better than Jurassic World?
So far, it looks better to me, honestly. Like, even though it may have some of the repeats of Lost World, it looks like I like how they're treating the kind of like how the dinosaurs did out and start hurting people better. Because in the last movie, it was the only, like, in all the movies I've said before, the humans are to blame for the fault. The humans get greedy. The humans just get greedy. The humans are stupid. In Jurassic Park 3. In Jurassic World, it's humans are greedy, but they don't really cause all the problems. They get greedy by making the Indominus Rex, which they probably could have kept in its cage. But the only reason it's not kept in its cage is the dinosaur is a smart one.
Mm-hmm.
It's smarter than the raptors. It's like sentient type stuff, which is not like a dinosaur. So I'm hoping.
Well, they did say that too.
Yeah,
it's not a dinosaur.
It's not a dinosaur. I'm hoping with the Indoraptor, even if I don't like it, even if I don't like the concept of Pseudosaurus as the name that I made up. Thanks, guy who called that cool like 3 months ago in the comments.
What was that? Isn't it a Monsterverse episode?
That was a Monsterverse episode.
Okay, nice.
He called it cool, and a cool name, and so thank you, sir, if you're watching this. I thank you. But yeah, I really like the idea of the Indoraptor because, as a guy who knew dinosaurs, been studying dinosaurs for a while, large dinosaurs do not have big brains. Large dinosaurs have nice small brains. Large dinosaurs have small brains, and Ian's doing something. Large dinosaurs have small brains, and then smaller dinosaurs have larger brains. That's why in Jurassic Park the raptors are the smart ones. The T-Rex is kind of a dumb one. Like Stegosaurus had the super small brain. In fact, it was like the theory they had 2 brains. It didn't. What they thought was the brain was like the spinal, like the thing of nerves on the spine. Can't think of its name. Ian, do you know what the name is? The bigger part of nerves on your spine. Is it your spinal cord?
Spinal cord, yeah.
Okay.
Like the main thing on your back and the.
Like the big old chunk of nerves on your spine.
Yeah, your spinal cord.
Okay. That's about that. And the Indoraptor, being small, justifiably should have a larger brain. But the Indominus Rex, because it's a pseudosaur and was made by people, has a larger brain, which is just stupid. Because if you give a huge thing a huge brain, you're going to cause some destruction.
And it was so.
And it was so.
Okay, that's good.
All right, Ian. What is there anything you want to bring up for R&D?
You know what? I think that's the big thing.
That's the big
for
thing.
R&D, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not much that happened in the 2 weeks that we didn't record, or that we tried to record,
or attempted to.
Attempted to.
Which shall be explained in the little
Yeah.
blooper episode.
The blooper episode will explain our absence in the past 2 weeks.
You know, I actually sat down for a second one time, and I, thought whether or not we should actually just start doing this bi-weekly. Because it's turning into that.
Yeah, it is kind of turning into that.
It's like we would love to do this every week.
But we have
but
lives.
Things that end up happening, this podcast is turning into more of a twice a month kind of thing.
And if we need to, we can always, during the summer, we can just record on off days, and not it's particularly Saturday, the morning when I have work in the afternoon, and you can just upload it the day it's supposed to be out. So
we'll see what happens. Maybe in the next episode we'll have more of a plan of what we'd like to do with the scheduling of episodes. Yeah. But I'm just mentioning that for the moment.
Yep. All right. So we want to get into the mandatory meeting.
I think we shall. Guys.
Only just 10 minutes or less.
Guys, it is a moment in history, for sure. An unprecedented event. 10 years and 20 movies building up to one moment.
Un momento.
And they pulled it off.
Un momento. I said it wrong.
Guys, it's Avengers Infinity War.
Where's dun dun dun. Give me the dun dun dun. Ian's giving us a dun dun dun. He's our DJ.
Alright. Wasn't very good.
Yeah, it worked. It worked for the podcast.
But here we go, mandatory meeting. Welcome to our review and discussion of Avengers Infinity War.
We'll try our best to keep part of it spoiler free,
Right. The first part of this will be spoiler free for those of you who have not seen seen the movie, then you can watch this part, and we will let you know at a certain point when we are going into the spoiler section.
Yeah.
So you can leave the video, and we won't be offended.
Yeah.
Because we would like you, if you have not seen the movie, to have the same experiences that Tim and I have had. Because #Thanos demands your silence. And I am abiding by that rule. I have not spoiled anything for anybody.
Thanos is a jerk, so I'm not going to listen to him, but I'm just going to be silent because I want to be.
Well, that letter also came from the Russo brothers. So.
I know. But Thanos is a jerk.
Well, yeah. But more on that later.
More on that later.
We're going to get there.
More in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
So how about we say, if you're wanting to stick to spoilers, how about like the 25-minute mark? Do you think that works? 15 minutes of non-spoilers, or do you think that's too much?
You know what? I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
All right.
I think we should just talk.
All right. So, if you want to skip to the 25-minute mark, if you get to the 25-minute mark, we'll yell at you until you go back to a certain part of the podcast.
Yeah.
For the start of our
In
spoiler
that case,
review.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ian, without spoiling anything, what did you think of the movie?
All right, I will tell you. So I went to the premiere of Infinity War Thursday night, 7 p.m. at our theater, our local theater here in the Arc. I had pre-ordered my tickets back in March. We planned with a group of friends to show up. Tim was not among them, unfortunately.
Always left out of the fun.
Yeah. But with another group of friends, like we made a group chat.
Was it like band people?
Yeah,
Theater
it's
people?
a lot of band kids, just band kids, and we were gonna go to the premiere and like dress up as characters, and so we did.
You were Star-Lord.
I went as Star-Lord because of course with the marching band thing this last year, I had the outfit for it.
Yeah.
So I went as Star-Lord. I got the whole outfit, the Walkman and the mask, and I show up like 45 minutes before 7 to get everything ready. I get myself a freaking fantastic popcorn hexagon tin, which I have with me now, which you guys can't see, but it's okay.
I had a Last Jedi one, so I was thoroughly enjoyed with that. I did the villain one, because the villain one was the cooler one.
So I have that tin with me, and I got my popcorn, I got my drink, I'm ready to go. I got the tickets, and then you get into the theater, you get your seat, and I'm waiting for like another 20 minutes or maybe less for it to start, and then it begins, and then by the end of the movie, I kid you not, it's like a solid half hour total of staying in the theater itself, talking with friends, and then out in the lobby, and then in the parking lot, because the conversation just kept shifting because we kept saying we have to go, but we just kept talking about it and talking about it, and my voice was gone. My voice was shut. And I did not do any screaming or cheering in the movie because that I don't do that at movies. I did applaud a few times. I did clap a few times. And maybe there was like one woo, like woo, but like I'm not vocal at movies,
This is why Ian's voice is bad today.
But the movie finished, and I was talking to friends, and I had like a sore throat. I'd like gotten a cough. I gotten cold throughout the movie, because before I did not feel anything. It's like, and then at the end of the movie, like I have a cold.
Good job.
Call it a coincidence, but I'm gonna say this movie had a physical impact on me. Holy crap!
I'm gonna talk coincidence right there. I'm gonna talk Bodis.
Do you think they heard that little thump?
Do you mean to make a louder one? Because I can.
Yeah.
There we go. You physically.
So yeah, I mean, I was just in total shock.
Total shock.
The movie ended, and you're just sitting in the chair. The way I described it, to another friend, to Brady, was,
why, Brad? Why?
That. Sometimes I'll leave a movie that I really enjoyed. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the movie, and then I'll see other people, and the way they react, and it seems like an overreaction. I'm just like, okay, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
That was me Thursday night, I was finally understanding how others may react to certain movies, and I was just like, holy shoot, like, walking out of the theater with weak knees, and I didn't even get halfway through my popcorn in the entire movie. Right. And I had 2 hours and 40 minutes to finish it, and I only got like halfway through, less than.
Ian, you scoundrel.
It was oh yeah, the Solo trailer was there too, so that was good.
Han Solo. It looks even better on the big screen.
Oh, absolutely. But anyway, back to Infinity War. My goodness, I can't. I mean, it is an experience. And, that's something that could, that's a phrase that is thrown around a lot. I'll admit that I use that a lot for things. Half the time it's ironically. This time it is definitely not ironically, because my goodness, they pulled it off. 10 years of building this up, and they pulled it off. And because I was worried going in, because you see the teasers, and you're wondering. I'm wondering to myself, how are they going to wrangle all these characters together in an engaging way, in a meaningful way, with meaningful decisions that actually affect things within the universe, that can connect to past events realistically, and be a part of this story. How can they make that good? How can they make Thanos? He's like, how are they going to do that? Make him the most menacing villain we've ever seen on screen. How are you supposed to make me hate him by the end? Because,
they do pretty well.
Yeah, they do. I was like, how are they going to do all this? Like, this is so ambitious, and it's just like, this is primed. There are a lot of odds against this not working. I was worried. It's just like this just might be a filler, bloated, lots of action because it's a big event.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of action.
Lots of action.
But at the same time, it does not sacrifice the characters. It does not sacrifice the story. It does not sacrifice Thanos and his incredible character development and depth, all in one movie. Mm-hmm. Because you get glimpses of them. And like the first Guardians of the Galaxy was the only movie where we had an actual scene.
Yeah.
That wasn't post credits, and it is an actual scene because he's saying more than one line, and it's not really a setup for anything because he's in that scene. 2 scenes actually.
Yeah.
2 scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's really all you have to go on. So it's like, okay, now they're gonna have to build this character a lot too and give him some depth, and then they did. They did not sacrifice that or anything else in the story and characters with the action, and that's what made everything just so satisfying and heart-wrenching at the same time. It is bittersweet is like an understatement.
Oh yeah.
To all this. Anyway, I'm done rambling. That's my 2 cents. 2 cents for that.
I'll ramble myself now.
Okay, Tim.
I watched last night, so I have a fresher memory than Ian. And then I skipped 7th hour to go see it, and then I went with my friend Joms, and then we went there, and then we watched the movie.
People are going to actually think his name is pronounced Joms.
It's Joms. It's totally Joms.
Okay, yeah, Joms. I know Joms.
We all know Joms.
Yeah, exactly.
And Joms, me and him, after the movie, just kind of sat and looked at each other, and we both just looked at each other like, did that just happen? Do we physically just view this?
Right.
Is this just what we just viewed, And we sat there in the theater waiting for the one end credit scene that's there. That's not a spoiler, I guess. That's just for your information. You better watch it, and then
stick around. It's still a Marvel food.
We sat there and we just kind of looked at each other and discussed stuff, and you're like, "How did this happen? We're smarter than this."
Mm-hmm. How did this happen? We're smarter than this. Well,
I say patience.
Apparently not.
And then after the end credit scene, we left, and we were like, "It's my nice gibberish." You're like, how did this happen? James had some strong feelings within like the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Certainly.
Yeah.
That's justifiably so.
Yeah, it's justifiably so. I had strong feelings by the end of the movie. Justifiably so.
That whole movie was just a trip.
Oh yeah, it was. I would like to point out, as Ian said, it's not like completely action filled like you expect it to be. Mm-hmm. but the action is put in certain moments where it's exactly needed, and the movie's like transitions almost perfectly well. Sometimes the transitions get annoying, and sometimes you wish certain characters had shown up earlier or had more screen time, but like most of the time the cuts and the transitions between certain like storylines and certain characters are mostly done really well. But sometimes it can be kind of annoying, like I want to see what happens here, or blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but and I didn't have that much of those kind of thoughts when I had watched it. I myself personally thought it was, given what they were putting on screen, even if I did wanted to see more of something, I told myself immediately afterwards, well, would you sacrifice what you're seeing now in this scene just to see more of that previous scene? And I said, no, I wouldn't. Because I think, these are the questions that the writers and the directors ask themselves. What you're asking right now is, should we do more of this, or should we cut this?
Yeah.
I mean, they have the toughest job to figure out, not only to make a good story, but condense it, because I'm sure they had a much longer cut of.
Oh, they probably
this.
did.
Oh yeah, so figuring out how to cut this to do all that they wanted to do, while still keeping it less than 5 hours.
Oh yeah. All right, Ian.
Which they did.
If we have 3 minutes left, pretty much before my one deadline. If we want to stick to it real quick, what movies do you think are necessary to see before watching Infinity War?
You know what? Actually, funny you mention that, because I was talking with a friend one day about a Marvel marathon, and to help out another friend who has not seen much Marvel, and we wanted to say, like, we should go see Infinity War, and they were like, well, I haven't seen this, so we got to get them caught up. So we had to choose what movies. So let's see if I can find that list here. What I ended up arguing for. Now, I'm gonna make another point here, so we might extend the deadline just a little bit.
Yeah.
So here was the my final narrowed down list. This is like version 3 of the list that I had created. So I said, yeah, and this was really difficult, by the way.
Oh yeah.
This is super difficult. And mind you, we were only, this would be like a day thing. We weren't planning on scheduling this over multiple days. If we had to do this in one day, this is the movies I would pick.
Yeah.
I said Iron Man, The Avengers.
Yep.
Now that's already a big jump.
Yeah.
Because you're skipping the first Thor and the first Captain America.
Oh yeah.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Because, Iron Man is the beginning of the MCU. That sets the foundation for everything. The first Avengers, obviously, you got to watch at least one Avengers movie for to see another Avengers movie. Captain America: Winter Soldier, The Fall of Shield, also the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And modern day Captain America.
Yeah.
Right? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
More stuff to learn about Thanos.
Yeah.
Introduces the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay. Age of Ultron.
Yep.
Once again, obviously, because it's an Avengers movie, and that's not just the reason. That there's more reasons to watch. There's more significant story elements. But of course, to see an Avengers movie, you're gonna have to watch. You should probably watch the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Civil War.
Yep.
Absolutely unavoidable. If you were going to get where you are in Infinity War, you have to see Civil War.
Yeah, much of what happens in Infinity War is because of the Sokovia Accords.
So now, and then of course Thor Ragnarok, because that is basically the literal setup.
Yep.
So all of this ended up being 15 hours and 44 minutes.
Oh,
just that as my final condensed list.
Oh wow.
Of movies for bit. The original list was I had my original list. I did have Thor and the first Captain America.
Yeah.
As part of the list. And I had Doctor Strange in there as well. Okay. And this ended up being that original version of the list ended up being 22 hours.
Oh jeez. Anyone jumped into 25 minutes, it's still not spoiler free. It's still not it's still spoiler free right now.
Yeah, just a couple more minutes on this.
We apologize.
So, and the reason I say this is difficult, one, because there's already a large canvas, And now, after having seen the movie, there's just like, because they were able to, like, it looks effortless. That, you know, they're effortlessly able to tie things together. It now makes certain movies even more necessary.
Yeah.
You know, because like, I didn't, you know, we'll talk about this more in the spoiler section, which shall begin very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
It makes Spider-Man Homecoming that much more significant for me.
Yeah.
Holy crap. You know, it makes the first Avenger that much more important, for a reason we shall discuss.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay? It makes, you know, because all I had for Thor was Thor Ragnarok on there. And, you know, and I'm thinking the original Thor is definitely more necessary because of the relationship between Thor and Loki.
And Thor 2...
All of this stuff.
And Thor 2, although, like, probably unnecessary, probably could explain the ether more.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a really tough job. This is a really hard thing to do. You know, like, it'd be, you know, for a Marvel Marathon as well.
Yeah.
You know, for Iron Man 2, even.
Yeah.
Because it's more, it sets up more of Tony's relationship with his father that makes the Civil War stuff happen years later a little bit more understandable.
Yeah.
So this is just really hard to juggle.
Yeah. So if I were to give my list real quick, it'd probably go Captain America, Iron Man, Avengers, probably Captain America 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Avengers 2, Civil War, Thor Ragnarok, and maybe Doctor Strange in there as well.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange explains a lot of the magic stuff,
Right.
and gives us an Infinity Stone.
And he's very significant in Infinity War as well.
Yeah.
You know, another one is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Because the Guardians of the Galaxy and Infinity War have been, at this point, they've been together for many years at that point, and they work together and relationships have been built.
Yep.
And you kind of need to see the second Guardians in order to see the building of that relationship that they have. And that's more than just Star-Lord and Gamora. I mean, as a team, the relationship they have.
Like Mantis is in the movie as well, and Teenage Groot, so...
You need to watch it, you know, to understand more about, especially Guardians 2.
Yeah.
To understand more about the daughter relationship that Nebula and Gamora have with Thanos.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Thanos is not in Guardians 2. But, you know, it's a very... There's the sister relationship in Guardians 2 is much stronger.
Yeah.
So that's brought up. So,
Alright.
da-da-da.
At the 28-minute mark, we make our
Here we go.
section into
Yeah.
spoiler section. So if you have not seen the movie, we recommend you turn back now, comment why are you spoiling, and then leave.
Yeah. But yeah, we would... yeah, so here we go. Spoiler section in 3, 2, 1.
All right. How about that opening, though?
Welcome to the spoiler section. Yeah, this is why I say the first Thor especially is more significant. Because Loki.
Loki is no longer part of the MCU.
Loki is the first one to go.
Was Heimdall killed first?
Well,
he kills... No, what he does is he kills Heimdall and says, you'll
right.
die for that,
Yeah.
and then Loki pledges his allegiance, tries to stab Thanos, and gets choked.
Sorry, I don't mean to forget Heimdall. So, I meant like major
major.
Yeah, major characters.
Part of yourself.
But Heimdall would be the first to go.
Yeah.
And then Loki follows suit.
Oh.
And
Asgard's completely toast.
you know, it makes it all the more, you know, moving and tragic if you have seen Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And you see the end, and they do all this work. You know, it's like, we're supposed to cause Ragnarok.
Yep.
You know, all this thing, and there's Asgard is a people, not a place. And then they evacuate, and then they're going. And then, you know, you see the Thanos' ship pop up. And then the start of Infinity War is Asgard is dead.
Yeah, all of it's dead. And then...
I mean, it's a twisted fulfillment of prophecy, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if there's one thing I can really appreciate about Age of Ultron is the visions that each of the heroes have in the movie.
Yep.
Via Scarlet Witch, but technically via the Mind Stone. because her
Yep.
powers come from that.
Yeah.
And, especially, and the two most significant being Tony's vision and Thor's vision.
Thor sees Ragnarok, or like
But
the coming of it.
Thor sees Ragnarok, right.
Yeah.
But, he says, Heimdall says to him, it's like, we're all dead.
Yeah.
And it's basically because of you. And you watch Thor Ragnarok, and it's like, okay, maybe not. And the reason I say twisted fulfillment of prophecy is because technically, yes. He brought on the demise of Asgard.
Yep. As Ragnarok is the death of all the Norse gods. And he caused the death of Asgard, hoping to save it. So, hoping to save the Asgardian people.
Hoping to save the people.
Yep.
But, as Thanos says, destiny still arrives.
Yep. And then...
in that particular scene, when Loki has his, final words, when he says Odin's son,
Yep.
when he turns to Thor and says Odin's son, that was obviously, meant to be like a signal word, to be like, I'm about to do something.
Yeah.
But I also viewed that moment as a last moment of camaraderie.
Yep.
Between him and Thor, because you see it especially in Thor Ragnarok how Loki and Thor really finally become brothers again by the end of the movie, and that was like a final moment, when he turns to Thor and says Odin's son.
Yeah, he's finally come to the love of his brother, his father, and he's trying to bring back all the evil he's caused. It's done completely good, complete 180.
But it's heart wrenching right from the get go.
Yep.
And it's just in that one scene you're shown twice. That Thanos, you should be scared of him.
Yeah.
One, because he beats up Hulk like a freaking puppet.
And that's why Hulk in the whole movie won't come back.
Yeah.
He's been beaten once, and Hulk's just kind of probably not dealing with that.
No, he wasn't just beaten. He was played with.
Yeah.
Hulk got in a few good hits on Thanos, and then he just took it.
Yeah.
And then whacked him around.
Yep.
And then of course with the Loki, it's just like, oh shoot, we should be, scared of what happens in this movie, because we can see obviously that the directors and the writers are willing to make these choices and are willing to go there.
As the Russo brother says, no character isn't safe, and they showed us that in the first 15 minutes.
In the first 15 minutes. That's another thing that, I might have been scared about in the beginning was, but are they actually going to make these choices? Because, they could play, and I would have been disappointed if they did this, if they played the safe card. Just because they know the fans love them and appreciate them, that they're going to play it safe and be like, oh, well, we can't touch these characters.
Yeah.
No,
one's safe.
they go right for those characters.
Yeah, no one's safe on Thanos' journey to collect all the stones.
So, yeah.
And then
Opening scene.
opening scene, and then
what we get next is
Hulk
arriving
going
in
through the Bifrost via the last king of Heimdall, and he lands right in the Sanctum Sanctorum,
right?
The Secret Sanctum, whatever it is.
Secret Sanctum, the New York Sanctum,
New York Sanctum, and right into the feet.
Logo happens.
Logo happens before Loki dies. Remember that? You hear no music. There's nothing, and you hear Thor calling out a distress signal, which comes in later.
Mm-hmm.
But after the whole opening scene with Loki's death, you see Hulk in the Bifrost go right into the New York Sanctum, right into the feet of Wong and Doctor Strange, who are discussing buying food.
And I thought that was the Logo. Hulk crashes into Doctor Strange and Wong look at him, and then
No.
Logo. Was it? That's the way I remember it.
Logo was beginning. Remember, there's no music. You see the thing.
Well, yeah, I remember that. That's also something. They did not use the Marvel fanfare at the very beginning.
Oh, you mean the Avengers Infinity War logo?
What else did you think I was talking about?
I thought you were talking about the Marvel Studios logo.
No, the title.
Oh, the title
logo.
Yeah, that happened right as he crashed in there, and he said Thanos is coming, and then logo.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what. Yeah,
I'm right.
he's right. Yeah, I thought he meant something else.
Yeah, we're both right.
Both right. Yeah,
We're both right.
but yeah,
And then Doctor Strange goes out to talk to Stark.
that's Tony Stark.
Uh-huh.
Tony Stark, obviously knowing nothing of magic, is kind of confused
And nanotechnology, freaking
via
nanotech.
Wakanda, most likely.
Well, I never mentioned that.
Well, yeah,
And
but
he's never been there either.
they've opened it up to the world, and we see this.
It's true. Like he probably bought stuff. We've talked about.
Yeah, we
this
talked
already.
about this. Yeah, but technically, Black Panther happens before Spider-Man: Homecoming. Did you know that?
Well, Black Panther happens like a day or a week after Civil War.
Yeah, a week after Civil War,
Yeah,
so.
and yeah,
He must be tired.
So we get our first, I'm going to say action sequence. Because the opening, Thanos and Hulk have a few punches, but
Yeah.
mostly Thanos, because Hulk just gets punched.
Yeah, he kind of the Don Dice says let him have his fun, and then he
Yeah.
does the whole Loki.
But that's not really an action sequence.
Yeah, that's more
And,
just
and I'm glad it wasn't. So we have our first action sequence with the arrival of, what's his face?
Ebony Maw.
Or Squidward, as Tony
Squidward, and then
Tony
you
calls
have
him.
the Hulk with the hammer.
Yes.
You've Thulk.
So that they have a little action sequence there. Spidey
Spidey.
suit. I liked that entrance, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, make it a stretch.
We're all gonna die. It was so quick. There wasn't even any delay. And then, of course, his entrance into in the park.
He's like,
where Iron Man
hey,
is
Mr.
fighting.
Stark, how can I
Hey,
help?
Mr. Stark. He's like, hey, kid. Kind of thing. And of course, spaceship.
Bishop.
They go into space.
Yep.
With
Doctor Strange in tow, Ebony Maw is able to get hold of Doctor Strange and the Time
trying to
Stone.
get the time stone of the Ayagamotto.
Yep.
Because there's a spell currently over it that's preventing anyone from accessing it, except for the wielder,
Except for the wielder.
or the person who has cast this spell.
Yep.
Right.
And they have to kill the person in order to get it. So Ebony Maw has to
Precisely.
take Doctor Strange with him, and Iron Man and Spider-Man go in tow, and Spider-Man, that's when he gets his Iron Spider suit.
Which is very cool.
Mhm.
And then they have an adventure on the ship.
Yep.
He makes more pop culture references,
Alien.
which is very true. I understood it. When it happened, I was like, yep, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Alien. I'm not sure if he said alien or aliens. I'm pretty sure both work.
Probably.
But, I was like, yep, that's what happened in that.
I thought I'd call it in.
So, they're off doing that, and then what happens? It goes to Guardians, right?
Goes to Guardians.
Guardians
who
with the
listen-
Rubber Band Man, Rubber Band Man, yeah!
Which was a song we listened to.
And they do distress signal time.
And then they're like, maybe we'll give us some chip cheese. And
Yeah.
then
And then they're just like, Groot, put that thing down. We're coming in.
Yeah.
I am Groot. Whoa!
and now everyone speaks Groot. It's not just Rocket. Everyone knows how to speak
Right,
Groot.
everyone knows how to speak Groot, and they got to chastise him on the language.
And,
man.
and I love Drat's expression, just like disgust.
Yeah. So yeah, they arrive amidst the rubble. That kind of reminded me a little bit of the first Star Trek.
Yeah, it
reboot,
does.
When the Enterprise comes out of warp and the fleet is destroyed.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Not that much. But just a little bit that reminded me of that. Of course, they find Thor. They have a very fun conversation. Like, how did this dude survive? That is not a dude. That is a man.
You are dude.
And then they make Star-Lord feel jealous and all that, and he tries to come. No, you are not taking our pod. He tries to copy Thor to
Yeah.
appear more manly.
Yeah. Which is a nice Guardians moment. It's like that's like most Guardians you get there.
What else is going on? We also have Wanda and Vision.
Wanda and Vision
doing
in
stuff,
Scotland.
doing stuff in Scotland,
And
where they get attacked.
yeah, obviously, Bruce Banner asks, "Where's Vision?" And
Oh yeah, and in the Sanctum, and Tony's gonna be like, and Tony was like, "Oh, you've missed a lot."
yep.
It's like the Avengers broke up.
Yeah. And he's about to tell Steve, but
And this is why Civil War is so important for this movie.
yeah,
Mm.
he's about to call Steve Rogers, but
Flip phone.
the flip phone
Yeah.
gets lost as they go into space, and and Bruce Banner grabs it before they leave, and Wand is of course invited to Tony Stark's wedding.
Yes, that's correct.
As he takes the hand and like cuts it off right before Tony Wand, you're invited to my wedding.
So with the Wonder Vision relationship, going back to, I like how far they've come at this point.
Yeah,
That it's been a little while.
2 years.
It's been a little while, so they've gotten time to bond, we'll say.
Bond with Jimmy.
No, not like that. But you know, stuff like that also makes it interesting. And as you see later in the when you see Rhodey,
Yeah.
in the Avengers headquarters, is that really everybody has
Turned on the
come
Sokovia
to
Accords.
turn on the Sokovia Accords because
They're stupid.
They don't work.
Yeah.
Right, they don't work. I'm sure Tony has as well.
Yeah.
Because because obviously he's not talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and all that because he would want to.
Yeah, he doesn't really care.
But the entrance of because Wanda and Vision get attacked by more lackeys of
Or
Thanos.
Children of Thanos, how the Black Order.
Yes, and then Cap shows up in a very cool entrance.
Yep.
Even if we saw it in the trailer, it's
Yeah.
still very cool. They queued up the Avengers theme right when that happened. Black Widow and then of course Falcon are there as well.
Yep. And we also are told that Ant-Man and Clint are on house arrest as we meet Rhodey.
Yes.
Because they couldn't take the Sokovia Accords and didn't want to have it too trouble in their families. And we see that in the Ant-Man and Wasp trailer. He has a little ankle bracelet.
Right.
Yeah.
So now it makes total sense.
Yep.
This freaking movie, it plans for everything. It ties everything together. My goodness. So here we are. My gosh, we're basically summarizing. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I wanted to go in order was so I could we could be a little bit more coherent with what we were talking about.
And then, what happens? So we see, they meet the Rhodey. They say we need to go to Wakanda to help destroy Vision's Mind Stone.
I feel like we're missing a lot of Thanos stuff that's going off on the side.
Thanos at this point. Well, we learn from Thor.
So Thor, Rocket, and Groot go off to
build Thor.
forge a new weapon.
Yes, new weapon, which we'll do the name later.
Which we will get to, but that's what they do.
And I'll rant about the name later. Let me talk about it.
Thor speaks Groot too.
Yes, Thor.
That made me
It
laugh.
was an elective.
That made me
Asgard.
laugh. It was an elective in Asgard. That was good.
And then, so at that point, I believe Thanos has gone to the Collector, get the Aether, which was given to him during Thor 2.
That scene, man.
Yeah. The Collector probably wasn't even there.
Oh, they're all dead.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
certain.
Like, he shows the real reality.
I'll just say this real fast. I wish, by the end of the movie, especially seeing that scene,
Yeah.
I was just like, why didn't the Dark World show this kind of stuff with the Reality Stone? Because what Thanos is doing with the Reality Stone in Infinity War is just like, that actually makes the Reality Stone interesting.
Yeah.
Because before it was red goop floating in air.
Entered Natalie Portman.
Yes. But he's actually doing stuff with reality in it. It's just a transition, all of a sudden flames.
He made a fake reality just to show to Gamora, see how
Right.
she did.
And then of course a test for Star-Lord, which he technically does succeed, but
Thanos.
no reality trickery.
Yep.
Because Gamora made Star-Lord promise
to kill
her if Thanos got her.
Yep. And it's revealed that she
That's a freaking... I can't...
she knew what every Marvel fan wanted to know.
And this is why Guardians 2 is more significant, because of the relationship between Star-Lord and Gamora.
Yep.
We also need to mention Drax trying to be invisible. How long have you been standing there? An hour. Oh, hey, Drax. Dang it. Anyway.
And then Thanos takes Gamora.
Let's just skip right to that. Because, Tony, Doctor Strange, and Spidey arrive on Thanos' homeworld Titan because Tony... It makes sense why he would, because Tony's just like, I do not want to bring this fight back to Earth. Because Thanos has been in his head, all that time and whatnot. So they're on Titan, and now they're gonna wait for him to show up.
Yep.
So now
No.
let's get to the heart of the movie, the soul of the movie,
The Soul Stone, which is revealed was known by Gamora the
was
whole time.
known by Gamora, and I knew, and hopefully everybody picked that up as soon as they started talking about it with Thor on
Yeah.
the ship. He's like, he needs the Soul Stone, and Gamora sort of gives a look,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, she knows where it is.
Yep.
And
We go to Vormir after Thanos threatens to kill Nebula, who he had captured trying to kill him.
and this, now I'm going to say, was my biggest bamboozled moment. I was not expecting to see the Red Skull.
Me either. That was great though.
Yeah.
The Red Skull was cursed by the Space Stone to guard the Soul Stone for the rest of eternity. And have you know, he was not played by the same actor.
No, he was not. No,
He looked
I-
exactly
I,
the same.
I was shocked. Well, makeup could do that.
Yeah.
No, it's not Hugo Weaving. It was a different actor. But at the same time, I mean,
The accent immediately told me that's Red Skull.
heckin' bamboozled.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit this. When Gamora and Thanos were walking up, and they arrived at the place, and there's this shadowy hooded figure, and I'm just like, please don't be some kind of cliche death incarnate guy guarding at the gate.
Oh,
And then you see his face, and I'm like, oh,
oh.
oof. Which is why I say Captain America: The First Avenger is now more significant
Yeah.
to watch. One, the first obvious reason before seeing the movie would be Tesseract.
Tesseract, yeah.
But now, the Red Skull.
Yeah, Red Skull as well, yeah. And then, he takes Thanos to the Soul Stone, he says, "You must sacrifice something."
That
you must
moment,
like."
as soon as that, they got it, and it was like, where is it? And as soon as you started talking, I was like, this is gonna be like Abraham Isaac
Oh yeah.
moment,
Except instead of like
except less biblical.
except instead of like Red Skull stopping, it's gonna be full on.
And I read, something from the composer of the score in that moment. That was a very hard scene for him to compose, not because of what was happening,
Yeah.
because that was going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
But the reason it was hard for him to compose is because he wanted to make sure he established in the music, as much as you see on Thanos' face and everything else in the dialogue, that he established in the music that decision was difficult for Thanos, and it
Yeah.
was not a strategic one.
No.
If it was strategic, he just would have went right for it.
Yeah.
And the line, he was like, Thanos starts crying, and it's like, and I knew the reason. Of course, Gamora has
Yeah.
like a little monologue, and I'm just like, as soon as she started talking, and I'm just like, she doesn't know. And then Red Skull's just like, those tears aren't
For him.
for him. And
She tries to kill herself right then and there.
then
Stop it, and he turns it to bubbles. It's a very hard scene for me to like.
it's a difficult scene to watch.
Yeah.
Because, it was still shocking to me. There are two types of shocking deaths.
Mhm.
There's the death that you absolutely do not foresee, that happens instantly, quickly. Like Agent Coulson
Yeah.
in the first Avengers, getting stabbed like that.
Yeah.
And then there's the also equally shocking death where, oh my gosh, they did that, but you saw it coming about half a minute beforehand.
Yeah.
As soon as Gamora started speaking, I was just like, oh no, this has to happen. This has to happen.
It was kind of like, I don't want this to happen. I didn't see that happening.
And then it did.
Yep.
So Gamora is gone.
He takes Gamora off the cliff, and you see him get the Soul Stone, and then he's not happy about it.
No.
He's physically like.
And that is one of the reasons, just overall in this movie, that what Josh Brolin and his performance is able to give Thanos, and the intelligence of the writing in the character, he adds depth to the character.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is actual depth there. So as a result, you were able to kind of empathize. But
To a point.
the great depth allows you to actually hate him
Yeah.
more than on the surface.
Yeah.
Just because he's a bad
The character
guy.
has so much depth. He's not just like, I'm evil because I can do this.
Yeah,
He's-
and how did I just forget this? The flashback sequence
Yeah.
with little Gamora on the planet,
Yeah.
and he's talking about balance with the knife,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more backstory of Thanos that you'd be worried to be like, okay, here's exposition time, but it's not. It's interesting.
It's further developing their relationship.
It's
Basically, Thanos raised Gamora.
yeah. This is not a joke. When the director said this is Thanos' movie, it really is.
Yeah.
The Guardians and the Avengers are in this movie, duh. But truthfully speaking, this is Thanos' movie.
Oh yeah.
But continuing, here we go. 50-minute mark, holy crap.
50-minute mark, jeez Louise.
I think we're basically at the halfway point in the movie.
Probably.
So,
yeah.
something like that.
And then, let's see what happens after Gamora's death.
So let's go to Wakanda.
Wakanda.
Let's say they arrive in Wakanda. By the way, Secretary Ross is blown off.
Yeah. Rhodes is like, get out of here.
Rhodes is like, get out of here, and Cap's like, if you stand in our way, we'll fight you too. And I'm just like, ooh, man, dang.
Yeah.
Obviously, because Cap always means business.
Yeah.
Banner and Hulk are reunite. Banner and Hulk, Banner and Natasha are reunited.
Yep.
I thought that was an interesting. It was very small, but just to see reactions from people, it's like, oh my gosh, you're back on Earth.
Yeah.
Well, they really didn't know that he left Earth.
Yeah.
Actually, at this point,
He probably told them on the Red Wakanda.
it's like, all right, guys, here's what I was doing with Thor and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he had to because he knew about Thor, so it's like you were in space, and all that stuff. So they're arriving in Wakanda because they have a plan.
Yep.
Because obviously, Vision is a problem.
Vision has the one
Because he's
stone.
got the Mind Stone.
He's at the one Mind Stone, and they need to get rid of it.
So their ultimate... By the way, just real fast, going back to that other scene with Secretary Ross. You're able to clearly see that Steve is not happy, as is anybody, about Civil War.
Yeah.
Take the sides whatever you want, have your idea, and have your moral grounds or whatever, but they're still friends.
Yeah.
Because Steve says Earth just lost her, best protector.
Yeah.
Because Tony Stark was missing.
Yeah.
Despite their differences, despite the Sokovia Accords and everything that just happened with, at the end of Civil War with Bucky and Stark's parents, Steve is just like, we're still friends, and I realize how important Tony is.
Yeah.
For the Avengers and the protection of Earth.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
So they stop. And then, so of course, they have to decide, okay, we have to protect Vision. We have to make sure, if we can find a way, they eventually figure out that they can extract.
Yeah.
While still keeping Vision alive.
Yeah.
Because, relationships.
Relationships.
But it's not done in a cheesy manner. That could have been done in a cheesy manner. But, the way Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany work together as Wanda and Vision, it feels like a real relationship. And it's just like, you know what? Even if this literally does screw you guys over, I understand why you would come to this decision. Freaking Cap. The freaking stone of a man, when he's just like, we do not...
don't sacrifice lives, even if the guy's an android.
Yeah, and it's like, don't sacrifice lives, and and Vision's just like, one life shouldn't, cause the death of millions of others, and then Cap says, but it should, and I'm just like, always ready, Cap, my man.
Yep.
So there we go. They get to Wakanda. Banner is insulted by Shuri because it's just like, you don't understand technology, you non-vibranium buffoons.
Right. And then they try to extract the Infinity Stone from...
Will is prepping for battle.
Yeah, well...
Bucky gets a freaking sweet-looking arm.
A vibranium arm as well.
It's got, gold accents,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
And they do mention his name, the White Wolf.
White Wolf.
They never call Captain America Nomad, though. They do not credit him as a Nomad either.
Yeah.
He's still Captain America.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange, because he is technically Nomad.
Well, anyway.
Man without a country.
Mm-hmm. So that's what they'd be doing.
Yep.
And then, now we arrive at the Forging.
The Forging.
Which, by the way, could have been done as a quick scene.
Yeah.
We've arrived at the place, we've forged a new hammer, let's go.
Yeah,
But they spent time on it, and it's significant for Thor.
Yep.
More than just actually forging the hammer.
It's significant because this is, this final struggle.
And it's where you find out where the gauntlet came from.
Yep.
Because, obviously the one in the vault, as you find out, Thor Ragnarok is... That's
Fake.
Hela pushes it over. Fake.
So he probably took that Or maybe he took the real one from the vault and then had it like fixed up by the dwarves
Yeah, we don't know.
to make it powerful enough. Yeah, we don't know. But we meet a midget who has been turned into a giant dwarf.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
Welcome to Peter Dinklage. Yes.
And then he says, Thanos made us make this gauntlet, and now my hands are rocks.
It's like he tried to bargain.
Yep. He killed all the other dwarves,
Yeah.
turned off the Neuron Star, which makes the weapons, and turned my hands into rocks.
Did Thanos directly turn it off? Or you know, because
Or maybe just
because I was thinking that.
misuse. Like,
Well, I was thinking that in order to forge something like the Infinity Gauntlet that can hold the stones, that's going to seriously overload the star.
yeah.
So it would like shut down by itself.
Maybe it's both, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Peter Dinklage talks about one hammer, which can I rent for a second?
Go ahead.
Called Stormbreaker. Stormbreaker is like an axe with a hammer. In the comics, mind you, Stormbreaker is never given to Thor. Stormbreaker is forged by the dwarves and given to Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
It's Beta Ray Bill's hammer. It's Beta Ray Bill's hammer.
I knew that was coming.
And
As soon as I talk about anything with Thor, I just have to expect Beta Ray Bill to show up.
yeah, Beta Ray Bill's my favorite, but like that's his hammer in the comics. So the director of Thor Ragnarok said he wasn't in there because he wanted to have him like his own solo adventure, not have him on the side. So maybe if he ever shows up in the MCU,
Oh yeah, dang it, Korg's dead.
yeah.
Moving on, sorry. Sorry.
And then if he ever comes, he'll probably not have Stormbreaker. But anyway, they have to forge Stormbreaker. They turn back on the Neuron Star, but
In a really cool scene.
yeah,
It's really well made.
Yeah.
Really well made scene. Groot helps out. He stops playing his video game for a little bit and makes the handle.
it makes the handle
And completes
after,
the handle.
after Thor has to go through the
I thought
immense
that was
trial.
very cool.
Yeah, where Thor has to go through the immense trial of holding open the gates
Yes.
for the Neuron Star.
Yes, and Chris Hemsworth gets to show off how fit he is.
And then
And he gets burned a little bit.
Peter Dinklage says the only thing that'll keep Thor alive is he gets the hammer. And they lose the handle, which Groot makes one, and the hammer is able to make the Bifrost. And you see Thor's hand like grab the hammer.
Sparkles. It is sparkles.
Yeah. And currently in Wakanda at the moment,
They be fighting.
by a lot. Yeah, they have a big old dome force field around the city, and they did like xenomorph type things, keep going through the force field a bit, cutting themselves off.
So as to, yeah. And eventually, you know, they're looking at them trying to flank, and T'Challa realizes we have to funnel them.
Yeah.
Because like we're gonna have to open part of the shield in
So
order
they
to
don't-
keep this. That's sort of like Cap says in the first Avengers.
Yeah.
Where it says, and in the second one,
Yeah.
keep the fight centered on them.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what they do. By the way, Banner is in the Hulkbuster.
He still can't go Hulk because
Yeah.
Hulk's probably salty.
He's probably scared
Yeah.
because it's just like I got slapped around by Thanos. Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it either.
So, and this was there was a like two big applauses in this movie
Yep.
when I went to the premiere. One of them was Captain America's appearance, but the biggest one by far, I guarantee you, the biggest applause that we got in the theater was when Thor showed up.
Yeah, with Groot and Rocket.
And you know, the Stormbreaker goes through first and just smashes a bunch of creatures, and whoosh, Thor arrives, and like he's got the cape.
Yeah.
He's got this brand spanking new armor. He's healed. He's no longer burned.
Yeah. And
then it's destruction time.
then Rocket asks Winter Soldier for his gun. And
It
then
says,
for his
it
arm.
says it's not for sale, and then it says, "Can I have your arm?" And then Bucky walks away annoyed.
And he's like, I'll get that arm. And I think we forgot one thing, though. What happened to the Guardians of the Galaxy? What have they been going through?
Oh well, the Guardians.
They-
The Guardians. Yeah, sorry.
They left nowhere, which was deserted.
Yes,
And they got a signal from Nebula saying, meet me on Titan.
And
Which
so they did.
currently is where Spider-Man, Iron Man, and...
So they have a interesting introduction where they think each other are lackeys of Thanos, but
Yeah.
none of them are.
Yeah.
Um,
and they come
Drax has a funny line.
What's this?
I'll do you one over. Why is Gamora? Where is Gamora? And Tony's just like, how about this? So do you one over? Who is Gamora? I'll do you one over. Why is Gamora?
And then What else? Like, one of them tells someone another one a funny name. What is he?
I can't remember it. But I remember like a solid 5 seconds of silence where Tony's just like frustrated in dealing with these guys.
Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like they're trying.
It wasn't the plan sucks moment. It was before that. But they're just like,
No, it was they're trying to think of a plan, and then he looks over and Jurassic is yawning.
right. It's like, are you yawning right now? It's like, yeah. It's like, because, and then Starlet's like, we don't really.
Not winging is not our thing.
Not winging is not our thing. He's like. And then, Doctor Strange is seeing future.
Yeah.
It's like 14 million something.
Yep.
And one outcome, he says, is one where they win. So eventually they come up with a plan, and Thanos
Comes in, and here's the thing I want to insert. He asks Doctor Strange something, but does he say? He talks about he's a sorcerer supreme of Earth, and he says what I believe is, so I take it Dormammu is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that? Because he looks at him and says, so I take it Dormammu's dead. Because I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I heard. It could have been Ebony Maw, which is his lackey.
Ebony Maw. It was Ebony Maw. I didn't say Dormammu.
I swore I heard Dormammu, and I was like, what? What?
Yeah, he said Maw.
Yeah.
You got me excited for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, Thanos does a little showing what the world used to be like,
Yeah.
adding more depth to the character and partial sympathy for what he's doing. And then, of course, the fight ensues, and they get close. They get close to removing the gauntlet.
And then Star-Lord has to figure out his girlfriend's
because
dead.
Mantis is like, okay, sleep.
Yep.
And then they're just like, he's feeling in pain. He feels guilt. And they're just like, what's he got to feel guilty for? Then, the moment. And then Tony's just like, Quill, you gotta calm down, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. They almost get the gauntlet off. They do not.
Yep.
And then
The moon comes crashing down.
And then parts of the moon come crashing down, and it's they start losing.
Yep.
Which brings me to the moment the moment that made my knees weak. I had plenty of moments of near tears.
Yep.
But this was the moment that made my knees weak, even sitting down, and that was Tony getting stabbed.
Oh yeah.
He's just trying his last ditch effort. Desperate last attempt to do something.
Technology is coming apart.
It's failing him. Thanos is just like all that work for a drop of blood.
Yep.
And Tony gets stabbed, and this is, I would say, the most interesting part of the movie for me is the connection that Thanos has with Stark. Because I noticed this. 3 characters called by name by Thanos in this movie. 2 of them are daughters,
Yeah.
Gamora and Nebula. But the 3rd character that Thanos actually calls by name is Stark.
Yep.
That indicates respect. That indicates, and of course the line, I hope they remember you.
Yeah.
Because, and what is this connection? Obviously, they talk about it's like, he calls Stark a man of knowledge.
Yeah, he says you're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
Right. Both of them, in their unique ways, background noise, both of them in their unique ways are futurists.
Yeah.
Both of them are futurists. So that's something that Thanos can respect. But seeing that connection there, I'm just like, this further cements the vitalness of Tony Stark in the MCU. So back to Wakanda.
Wakanda. Currently,
Creatures be dead.
Creatures
like
be
all
dead.
of them, because well, 2 moments I
Yeah.
shall mention. Well, actually, maybe I have to mention 3. This is going to be our longest episode without a doubt.
Yeah.
But we're still going. I see you've copied my beard
Yeah.
style, and Cap's just like, so you got a haircut. And then, of course, I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers.
All right, and at this moment, probably in time.
At this moment, they find out that they cannot get the stone out in time, so Vision has to
fight.
Has to fight. He has to break it free.
One of the daughters of Thanos has been killed thanks to the work of Bald Lady from Black Panther, Black Widow, and Scarlet Witch, and then the big hammer guy and the others.
Big hammer dude dies via Hulkbuster repulsor, which was smart thinking from Banner, who had never used an Iron Man suit before.
And then,
I'll be honest with you, I was expecting him to burst out eventually.
oh really?
Hulk. Yeah, I was expecting him to burst out of the armor at one point because there's a shot in the trailer, you know, when they're all running.
Yeah.
And Hulk's there. That was what a tease. But you know what? I'm glad they didn't because I also found that interesting. Other than the beginning of the movie, there's no Hulk.
Yep.
Just Banner. And I'm just like, nice. I like what you're doing here. Anyway, continue.
And then, one of the sons of Thanos is killed, but they also realize, hey, we can't get this stone up.
Mm.
And they're just kind of sitting around in the field, and to cut back to where Iron Man and everyone else is. Iron Man is being stabbed, killed by Thanos, and then they trade for his life. Doctor Strange
gives Thanos the Time Stone.
And then at that point, Thanos goes to Wakanda.
He arrives at Wakanda, and here is the moment where, because we learn that the only way that the stone can be destroyed is by something of a similar energy source, such as Scarlet Witch's powers, which of course came from the Mind Stone itself.
Yep.
So,
and
that's what they do.
While Thanos is beating everyone up,
Cap has his moment of screaming.
Yep.
And then he gets sent down to the ground.
I thought he died in that.
I almost thought because it looked very like Whiplash almost.
Yeah.
He was like, but no, he didn't.
Yep.
And then Vision dies. He's gone.
Yep.
But of course,
Thanos is,
given the scene you just saw back on Titan, and that's what I was thinking that entire scene. It's very tragic, and I was feeling it, right?
Yeah.
What Wanda has to do, and I was just like, but Thanos has the Time Stone.
Yeah.
That thought was there the entire time, and that wasn't. I know that's intentional because he's just, as you can see, Thanos did not look desperate at all because he was just like, it's less work for me.
He's like,
because they're just gonna get rid of him, and all I have to do is rewind a little bit.
Yep. And he's like, I feel your pain there. It's like, you won't understand. And then he brings it back, kind of like shoes Scarlet Witch off.
And then he turns, and then he loses his textures.
Yeah.
And becomes a model, just basic T-pose model.
Yep.
I'm just kidding, he ragdolls.
He ragdolls and comes all black, and then Thanos puts the one stone in.
Puts in the Time Stone.
Or the Mind Stone, the last stone he needs.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
And then Thor
comes into with,
Stormbreaker.
with a really cool looking moment.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. And then it stabs him right through the chest.
And he's like,
you should have gone for the head. And then he snaps. And the moment arrives.
And then that moment he sees Gamora as a child again.
You could do this. You could do this, but at what cost?
Yeah. Or he's like, did you do it? He's like, yes. And she's like, what cost? She's like, everything. And then he leaves via the Space Stone, and you see half of
People
the life.
start to disappear.
And one moment I'd like to bring up.
Bucky was the first, right?
Bucky was the first.
Bucky was the first. So, the moment that brought me the closest to tears, Spidey.
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
That one got me the closest. Like my eyes were so watering at that moment when he was like, "Mr. Stark, I'm not feeling well," and then like hugs him and Tony's like trying to. The Guardians disappear.
The only Guardians left are Rocket and Nebula.
You'll notice that the only remaining Avengers are
the original,
the OG Avengers.
And then
Black Panther's gone.
Black Panther's gone. Doctor Strange. Falcon's gone.
And Rhodey.
Doctor Strange, as he leaves, he tells Tony, "It was the only way."
Right.
So is this the one future he saw where they win?
Now, the first time I heard that line, I took it like the obvious, less thinking kind of way, and just meant to say that he was admitting that there actually was no way.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, I don't think they actually would have tried to fight anyway. Or Doctor Strange wouldn't have been as resilient. But, I talked about this with another friend. That because there is a connection between Thanos and Stark, that needs to happen because he needed to give up the time stone, and this needed to happen. There was no other way because Stark needs to survive.
Yep.
For whatever it is, for whatever happened next. Maybe he doesn't even know. Maybe as far as he could see, all he knew was that the one way Tony Stark had to survive, and he couldn't see after that.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it. But there was no other way because Tony needed to survive, for whatever that may be. And of course,
The final shots are...
the final shot of Robert, and he's just, just sitting there, with his hands, just at his face, and he's just in shock, because, yeah, it's even despite what we just talked about, even if this is the one way,
Yeah.
they failed.
Yep.
And that's what this movie does to you. It continuously strings you along with oh yeah, I think they're gonna get it, guys. They're gonna have their resolution. They're gonna stop him, and they never do.
Nope.
Which makes Thanos even more scary because
Yep.
it's an unstoppable force.
And he's basically invincible now.
Right.
And
So you get the final shot. Cap is like, dang it.
Yeah.
Said in a much better way than what I just did.
And then the credits roll.
Wait, no.
Pretty much.
You gotta have that last shot. When Thanos is in that shot.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks into the sunset, as he said he would. As he said
He's
he would.
happy.
He would.
He's
Yeah.
peaceful.
And he smiled. And I'll tell you, it wasn't in that moment. It was when people started disappearing, and I was like, I know this movie has a finite amount of time.
Yeah.
This has to end eventually. And then it got to the last shot. He smiles, and it's not the most triumphant smile.
Nope.
And I like that.
It
wasn't an evil
he lost
smile.
a lot.
It wasn't an evil smile by no means. It was sort of a relieved,
Yep.
sort of a,
I don't have to do this anymore.
yeah. It wasn't evil smile like ha 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 ha. I did
Or
it,
even a
with-
happy smile. It was like
No.
time to relax.
Yeah, kind of thing. And
It's like I'm
and then credits roll.
And then we did the last end credit
Yeah.
scene with we have Agent Hill,
Mhm.
and Nick Fury in a car, which I was not expecting to see in the movie.
Mhm.
And then they get hit by a car that has no person. You see the effects of this people disappearing with helicopters crashing, and Agent
Yeah.
Hill is the first to go of the two.
And then
And
then Nick Fury gets to say
Mother.
mother effer.
And then
except he's interrupted.
And then he hits the button, and you see this like it's like a pager.
Like little pager, yeah.
Yeah, and it falls down, and it says sending, and dot dot dot, and then it shows
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, though.
Which will be pretty exciting. The movie comes out next year in March, set in the 90s. That's why the pager's there.
And then next year in May,
With it,
we'll get the second part of this. It's not Avengers Infinity War Part 2, it's just, we still don't know the title.
yeah, we might want
Because the Russo brothers said that the title for Avengers 4 is a spoiler
Oh yeah,
for Infinity War, so now we're really wondering what that is. And I will say one last thing about Infinity War. One last thing. In the credits, when the credits roll, and they're getting the names of everybody with the music in the background,
Yeah.
and then it gets to the logo. And I just told you this before we started recording. You're expecting. You've seen the end credits for the first Avengers. You saw the end credits for Age of Ultron.
yeah,
And both of them very triumphant, very heroic renditions,
Yep.
of the Avengers theme. Seeing, all of the cast members as their respective characters. In the first one, it was like a
Yeah.
montage, and then the second one is like that statue thing.
yeah.
This time you don't get that.
Nope.
This time, when the logo, when the title finally pops back up, it's just on the piano.
And
It's a very quiet, subtle, defeated
Yep.
kind of, because it plays the last note, which I think is something like that, or I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
But-
It's very nice.
And then the logo fades, the title fades out the same way that
The people do.
the people disappear.
All right.
And then at the very end of the movie, when it said, just to remind you again that this is his movie, Thanos will return.
Yeah.
Not the Avengers will
No.
return, not the Guardians of the Galaxy will return. It just says Thanos will return.
Yep.
My goodness, this movie. As you can tell, as we've spent for the past.
Almost hour
Yeah.
on this. All right, Ian. Anything you like to say? All right, is that enough on Infinity War right now?
Unless you have anything else to
Nope.
say.
We might have to do a part 2 for like speculation for afterwards. Actually,
Because yes, because my friend Cameron, I asked him this morning if he was wanting to co-host again, but he was out of town, but he left us a suggestion for Avengers 4 title speculation, which
we can do next week,
we can do next time,
and we can have Cameron over.
and
to
we
do
could
it.
actually have Cameron
Yeah.
with us. Look at that!
Look at that. All right. So HR. Anything for HR? Let's transition to that. Anything, Ian?
No, sir.
All right. I talked to Jake a little bit, who's a good fan in my teacher aid hour. He got mad at me when I talked about the Venom trailer, because I said Venom in Spider-Man 3 still it's better than like CG, like suit wise than the Venom in the new Venom movie. He got mad at me for that. So that's all I have to bring up. Sorry, Jake, if you listen to this, blah blah blah.
If you made it this far,
If you did make it this far,
because you were at the premiere, buddy, I was there with you.
yeah, he told me he was at the premiere. He told me to go watch, and like, I'm not gonna talk to you right now. I don't want to hear the spoilers. All right, we're gonna play outro music. You ready?
Yeah, we're gonna have our little outro music, which is of course this end credits kind of music.
All right.
All right, guys.
Very sad.
We will see you guys next time on the IT department. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.